What's going on, everybody on YouTube? Wow, freaking feels crazy recording another video, man. It's been about 2 months, I think, since I posted my last update video here on the channel, and man, so much has went on in my personal life. I've been semi-active on Instagram, not really all that active anymore, but I pop in once in a while. There are people that I follow, a lot of friends that I made within the pre-workout supplement space, so I do keep in touch with a lot of people. As I said in the last video, and if you guys haven't seen the last video I did about 2 months ago, go ahead and check it out, because I kind of update and I speak about what happened in my personal life, why I'm no longer taking pre-workouts, why I'm no longer reviewing pre-workouts, and kind of what I think I'm going to be going into in the near future. And I'll be honest, I was planning on coming back to YouTube at the beginning of June, and it's already the middle of June, and I'm still not there yet mentally. I don't have everything ready. I don't have everything in my life figured out just yet. It's been crazy. It's been absolutely insane. And in this video here, I kind of want to talk a little bit about life after high stims. And it's weird for me because you guys got to understand that for the last 3.5, 4 years, I was the pre-workout guy. Not just here on YouTube as Stim Ace, doing the pre-workout reviews, getting hopped up, living the lifestyle, but literally even in the gym, everybody knew me as the pre-workout guy. People would come to me, hey Ace, what's going on? You got anything for me? You know, I would always have like these sample baggies with me. A lot of companies would always send me like these sample baggies for new products and whatnot. I always had a lot of leftover stuff that I was never realistically gonna use because I just had so much inventory that I was literally the pre-workout guy. That was my identity, you know? I was used to coming home, having every couple of weeks I would have some pre-workouts waiting for me in the mailbox. I'd be testing them out. You guys that have been following me for close to 3 years or however long it's been that I've been on this YouTube journey, this fitness / high stim journey, you guys know what I'm talking about. I've always kept up to date with the latest products, and I had a great time doing it, man. And a part of me misses it. I'm not gonna lie, guys. A part of me misses getting hopped up, going to the gym, crushing the weights, and just feeling like an absolute god afterwards. Unfortunately, I was doing my body a massive disservice, and I'm not coming on here right now and I'm not shitting on pre-workouts. I'm not saying pre-workouts are bad, don't take pre-workouts, because I'd be a hypocrite if I would say that. I'm gonna say that at this stage of my life, and probably for the rest of my life, pre-workouts, especially exotic, illicit types of pre-workouts, are not good for me personally. Everybody needs to do their own research and decide whether it's something that you want to do, something that's worth it. You guys got to understand that with everything in life, there's always pros and cons. There's always side effects. No matter if you're taking vitamins or medications, everything has side effects. Everything has pros and cons. And you need to evaluate for yourselves whether it's something that is worth it for you or if it's something that brings a detriment to your life. Now, the last couple of months, like the last 6-7 months that I was taking a lot of these high stim pre-workouts, I'll be honest, guys, I fell in very, very deep. I was living the Stim Ace lifestyle. Unironically, I was living that lifestyle without even trying to be in character for it. It literally became who I was. I was literally popping, stimulants, fat burners, nootropics with illicit ingredients just on weekdays before going to work. And my excuse was, oh, I have a 20-minute bike ride to work, so technically I am using it for training. Bullshit. That was just me feeding the inner addict. But it takes over. And as somebody who does have somewhat of an addictive personality, whether it's getting into video games, whether it's when I first got into the gym and that became my entire life, and I kind of forgot about every other aspect of my life, I do have that personality. When I get into something, I go 150% into it, which is why this whole journey has been a big wake-up call for me. And it's been hard for me, because this has become my identity for the last 3.5, going on 4 years. This became a big part of who I am, so when I came to the realization that I cannot continue this lifestyle anymore and I need to get off the pre-workouts and start limiting my caffeine to 1 cup of coffee a day, and I had to quit the THC gummies that I was taking at night to help me mellow out in general, dealing with stress from life, work, and a whole bunch of other things. It changed me as a person a lot, and it came with a lot of withdrawals. And people are gonna say, oh, this stuff is not addictive, whatever. Listen, you can be taking this stuff for 5-10 years. Clearly there's YouTubers that have been running this stuff for a long time. Not gonna mention any names. You guys know who I'm talking about. There's people that have been taking this stuff for years and they're fine. And listen, everybody's body is different, everybody's physiology is different, but for me personally, I couldn't do it. I don't want to get into too much details, but I had a scare about three and a half months ago. And again, you guys can go to the video right before this one, and I really break things down a little bit more. I don't want to repeat myself. I don't want to get into too much details. But long story short, I'm very susceptible to heart palpitations, which in and of itself is not life-threatening. But there were certain signs that happened in my body that told me it's time to make a change. And I basically decided to quit. Now, it wasn't that I took a pre-workout and it caused my heart to go into overdrive, even though that did happen a couple of times. But there were certain things in my life that happened, and now that I know I'm susceptible to this, I don't want to mess with it, guys. I want to stay on this planet for many, many years to come, and I decided to radically shift my life. So I'm about three and a half months sober now. I don't have the exact date on hand. I do have an app that keeps track of everything, but you know what? I'm finally starting to get back to my baseline. And it's weird, you know, workouts have definitely changed. My entire life kind of revolved around these products, and it's so funny because you guys that know my history, you know that 7, 8, 9 years ago, I was considered morbidly obese. Now, I'm still a work in progress. I still want to lose about 30 pounds, but I dropped about 110, 115 pounds gradually over years. And I'm talking about like 7, 8 years ago when I first got into fitness and training. I did it all on my own without any GLPs, without any fat burners, without anything. I remember I used to literally go to the gym. When I first started getting into training, I used to go to the gym. I didn't even know what electrolytes were back then, guys. I would literally just have my bottle filled with water. I do have electrolytes in here now, by the way, but I had just water, and that's all I did. Maybe I would drink half a cup of coffee beforehand, before going to the gym to give me a little boost, but I didn't even have caffeine pills, nothing. I would just go to the gym and train, and that was normal for me until somebody in the gym one time introduced me to a pre-workout. I don't even remember what the pre-workout was. It was something generic, but obviously as somebody who's never taken any pre-workouts, I took that pre-workout and suddenly I got lit up, and I liked the feeling. I really liked it. So little by little, I started dabbling. I started getting certain pre-workouts, and then the infamous Dark Energy came out, the original Dark Energy by Magnitude Life Sciences, and that was basically the pendulum changing and, you know, swinging the other way. And ever since then, I've been hooked on high stim pre-workouts, always chasing the latest and newest pre-workout. And it got to the point where, you know, I started using this stuff irresponsibly. But my point is, when I lost that 110, 120 pounds, I did it naturally. I didn't take any pre-workouts, no fat burners, no synephrine, no DMHA, no alpha-yo, nothing. I literally just went, I lifted a little bit. Now, I've never been the strongest guy in the world, so I don't lift super heavy weights. I don't train, you know, I mean, I train till failure, but not lifting the heaviest weights. I've always had issues with joints and muscles and stuff like that. I'm very susceptible to injury. And as I get older, it's not going to get any better. I just turned 36, and I'm more in tune with my body right now, you know? I'm in this weird place where mentally, I still feel like I'm 20 years old. I'll be honest, guys. I still feel 20. I'm still into all the things that I was into when I was a kid. I'm into horror movies. I'm into Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm into Pokemon. I'm into anime. I'm into all the young adult novels I used to read as a teenager, Stephen King and all that stuff. So mentally, other than the fact that, yeah, I'm working a grown-up adult job and I'm paying taxes and I'm doing all the adult stuff, I still feel like a 20-year-old mentally. And from what I hear, I look like a 20-year-old as well, because I do take good care of myself. But that is besides the point. Maybe that's a video for another time. How to keep a youthful appearance and how to take good care of yourself. Maybe that'll be a video for another time. You guys let me know, because I want to keep this YouTube channel going. You know, every time I post a story on Instagram, and not to toot my own horn, because in the grand scheme of things, I'm not an influencer. I'm not some celebrity. You know, I'm just a small-time YouTuber that did it for 3 years. You know what I mean? But every time I post a story, I do get a lot of engagement from people. I still have people hitting me up regularly on Instagram, asking when I'm coming back, and just, you know, just wanted to have a chat and talk to me about stuff, not related even to pre-workouts and whatnot. So it just makes me think that me not doing anything with the YouTube channel would be such a waste. You know what I mean? It would be such a waste to just kind of let it go. I'm at, what, like 2,500 subscribers, 2,600? I'm not even sure. I haven't even checked in a while. But I feel like it would just be a waste for me to let that go and do nothing with it. There are clearly people that are interested, invested in my journey. And it is a journey, guys. I'm on a journey. I've regressed. I've gained a little bit of weight. I've been yo-yoing. There's been a lot of stuff going on in my personal life. I found out that I've been dealing with sleep apnea for the last 10 years, which makes so much freaking sense as to why I've always been tired and dealing with low energy. Also, by the way, directly related to the heart palpitations. There is a lot of relationship between sleep apnea and that. So I went on a crazy month-long journey, or like a month and a half, until I figured out how to use the CPAP machine that they gave me. Couldn't get any sleep on it until, thank God, I figured things out, got the setup that works for me, and I feel great right now, honestly. I'm about 2 weeks on the CPAP with my current setup, and I am more energized than ever before. I'm feeling like high Stim Ace without the high stims, but my point is that life after high stims has been very, very interesting, full of highs and lows. There's been a lot of highs and a lot of lows. There's certain days where I just feel that natural energy. I wake up in the morning. I don't even have a coffee every day. I try to have a cup of coffee every other day. Or if I know that I want to grab a Starbucks later on in the day, sometimes I have my work van and I have about an hour where I can drive out and get a Starbucks. That's kind of like my midweek special treat. If I know I'm going to have a Starbucks later in the day, then I will just skip my morning cup of coffee, because that will be my caffeine for the day. I'm trying to cap my caffeine at 200 milligrams a day, and not even every day. So, my life used to revolve around taking stimulants, being hopped up, and just giving myself this artificial energy. And it wasn't real. It wasn't genuine. I've had sleep apnea for at least 10 years that I didn't even know about. I just assumed that, that's just the way I am. But once I did the test and I figured things out and I realized I'm not getting enough oxygen at night, man, it made so much freaking sense as to why I was always tired and lethargic and just brain fog and just, feeling wiped by the middle of the day. It all suddenly started clicking together. So now I'm actually addressing a lot of this stuff. Now I'm taking certain supplements to help things out. I just started taking creatine again recently because there's a lot of cognitive benefits that come with creatine as well. Now, I don't know if creatine ever actually helped my strength in the gym or not, but I'm taking it right now. I'm taking my 5 grams of citrulline a day to help with the blood flow. Aged garlic is really good for the heart to help prevent palpitations, stuff like that, help clear the arteries, help with the blood flow. I'm taking CoQ10 right now, which also has similar benefits, citrus bergamot, and obviously a quality multivitamin. Don't be skipping out on the multivitamins, getting some generic crap, guys. Invest the money, do your research, get a good multivitamin. I use the Garden of Life one, which is really, really good, really perfect dosages. And little by little, I am feeling better. Now, it's weird when you get off of the stimulants and the THC, because like I said, I was also taking THC gummies every night. Now, mind you, it wasn't a crazy amount. It was 5 milligram gummies. Once in a while, I would hit the vape for a little bit, and it just kind of became a rhythm in my life where I was just taking these pre-workouts almost every day. Let's be honest, pretty much every day. And in the evening, I would take the THC to help mellow me out. So my adrenal system has been completely out of whack. And now that I eliminated everything in one shot, cold turkey, because I'm an extremist and that's the only way I know how to do it, my entire nervous system has been crazy. Been getting random spurts of anxiety here and there, random elevated heart rate and stuff like that. And thankfully, it has lessened over the past week and a half. Again, I feel like I'm only now kind of getting back to baseline, but I'm just relying on natural methods right now to get myself healthy and energized. So quality sleep, which is so important, because I haven't had quality sleep probably in the last 10 years and probably even longer than that. So that issue in and of itself, man, that made a life of difference. And I wouldn't have ever even known about that if it wasn't for the palpitation situation and me going to the cardiologist and the cardiologist telling me you should get checked out for sleep apnea. I wouldn't have even ever thought to do that, but apparently that was a big cause of a lot of my issues. Now, in terms of supplements, like I said, I am taking the creatine, the citrulline. These are good. These are heart healthy. These are safe, but a lot of you guys know that I loved my nootropics. I was a big fan of nootropics, and especially a lot of non-stim pre-workouts. Back in the day when you ran a non-stim, I'm talking about like 3-4 years ago, right? When non-stim started becoming a little bit more popular, they were mostly citrulline-based formulas. Some of them had some ingredients that have questionable research, such as S7. Whether that contributes to the pump or not, who knows? It's debatable. Some people say it doesn't do anything. Other people say it contributes a little bit. You have the glycerol and whatnot. So basically, back in those days, they would be just pump formulas that you could stack on top of stim-based pre-workouts, or you could just take them on their own and just get a nice pump in the gym, help with the vascularity, blood flow, and whatnot. But in recent years, I'm talking in the last like year and a half, 2 years, a lot of these companies started making these fully loaded non-stim pre-workouts, right? So throwing in alpha GPC, L-tyrosine at large dosages, which I always liked. I loved L-tyrosine. When I used to review pre-workouts, I always used to talk about L-tyrosine and how much I love that ingredient. But unfortunately for me, I had to cut those out as well. And you guys may be asking, Ace, those are non-stim options. What's the problem? Well, when you do research, you find out that certain nootropics can actually mimic adrenaline. And even though there's no caffeine in there, there's no stimulants. If you're somebody like me who's sensitive, and I'm in this weird in-between stage right now where my nervous system is still kind of like on training wheels, you know? So every little thing can trigger a potential palpitation. And I just don't want to trigger any palpitations. So even L-tyrosine, I noticed I was running the Transparent Labs non-stim, which by the way, great formula on paper, 8 grams of citrulline malate, 1 gram of tyrosine, very clean label, no artificial dyes, nothing, very, very clean. And I would run it on its own, but I would still get that adrenaline rush a little bit later on, and it would take hours for me to kind of come down from it. So even the non-stim pre-workouts became a no-go for me. So what do I do now? What do I take as a pre-workout? And realistically, I don't have to take anything. I could just drink water. I can go to the gym. I could just drink my electrolytes, which I do, because hydration is very, very important and very underrated. And a lot of people are dehydrated without even knowing about it. So what I do right now is I essentially focus on stability and heart health, especially when going to the gym. So again, back in the day, high Stim Ace would get hopped the hell up. I would already be in a different stratosphere by the time I enter the doors of the gym, and then I would pound the weights like an absolute lunatic. Heart rate would be up through the roof. I wouldn't care. I never even thought anything of it. And then I would come home, have some THC to relax, and that was it. But now I don't do that anymore. I don't even take non-stim pre-workouts. I kind of created my own stack, which works really, really well for me. So as the base of my new stack, I have a lot of flavored creatine still from the days where I was reviewing. I have a lot of leftover flavored creatine without any artificial food colorings or dyes or anything like that. You know, there's the one from, I think, VMI that I really like, the cherry slushy flavor. Love that one, by the way. Huge Supplements sent me a couple, which are really good as well. So I'm sitting on a bunch of creatine. I should probably be good for the next 6 months in terms of creatine. So the base will be 5 grams of creatine, right? Flavored creatine. And then I add a little bit of D-ribose, which also helps ATP production, also a lot of heart health benefits. Add 5 grams of that. It's technically unflavored, but it has like a nice sweet scent, almost like a vanilla caramel scent. Do your research on D-ribose. It's a very, very good compound to add. And even people that don't have heart issues could benefit from extra ATP production. Nothing wrong with that. Gives you a little energy, a little more energy to finish out that extra rep, that extra set, and to crank it out and really take your workout to the next level. So that's what I've been doing, adding 5 grams of that. Then I add 5 grams of L-citrulline. And I don't push those crazy numbers anymore. I used to do like 8 to 10 grams, sometimes even pushing it to 12. Not necessary. Honestly, guys, I know that in this day and age, everyone's into the scientific aspect of things and everyone's into the clinical dosages and whatnot. But honestly, guys, between me and you, real talk, 5 grams of L-citrulline, 10 grams of L-citrulline, I don't see a difference. I don't know, maybe if I was a super shredded bodybuilder with crazy vascularity, maybe then I would notice a difference. But I'm telling you guys, 5 grams or 10 grams of L-citrulline, I don't notice a visual difference, but you don't want to dilate your blood too much. I'm talking about myself. You guys do whatever the hell you want. I'm just giving you my perspective. So for me, 5 grams of citrulline is the sweet spot. So again, 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, 5 grams of D-ribose, 5 grams of citrulline, and sometimes I will add a little bit of, why am I blanking out on the name of the thermogenic right now? L-carnitine. Yes, L-carnitine, no more than 1 or 1.5 grams. And, you know, to give you a nice little thermogenic effect, but without putting it to the next level. You know, I don't take things like Pro GBB anymore, even though I used to love Pro GBB back in the day. Man, any pre-workout that had caffeine, Alpha-Yo, and Pro GBB, I was all about that. I love getting that sweat and that intensity and that focus. Man, I miss it. A part of me misses it. I'm not going to lie. but it's a different kind of vibe right now when I go to the gym, right? So back in the day, when I would go to the gym as high Stim Ace and I would already be hopped the hell up, my heart rate would already be freaking high. I'd be pumping, doing my thing, taking no breaks in between. I'd be pacing back and forth for like 20 seconds, doing my next set. And in hindsight, I probably put so much stress on my heart during that entire time. And, I didn't even think anything of it. Now it's different. I'll get to the gym Saturday morning, Sunday morning, what have you, 10:30 a.m. That's usually the time I like to go. It's the kind of in-between time because you have your morning crowd that gets there at like 7, 8, 9 o'clock. And then by like 10:15, they start clearing out. So between that time and like 12 o'clock, you have that 2 hours in between period where it's kind of quiet in the gym and I don't have to worry about wrestling people for equipment. So I get to the gym like 10:15, 10:30. I'll be there till about 1 o'clock. I notice my workouts are taking a lot longer now because first of all, I don't have anything that's giving me artificial energy to where I can push faster. Like I was literally taking like 15, 20 second rest sets previously when I was hopped up on high stims. And now I'm taking longer breaks in between. I need time to catch my breath. I don't want my heart rate to go too crazy. And I kind of just learned to fall in love with the process again, if that makes sense, because with the pre-workouts, with the high stim pre-workouts, a lot of them kind of put you on autopilot where you don't really have to do all that much. You take the pre-workout, the Alpha Yo, the Wrecked and Raged, whatever, the Crack Purple, and it just kind of puts you on autopilot where you're just doing your thing, the music, you're pumping, and yeah, that's obviously going to increase your performance. But if you're, like me right now, I don't like using the term natural because who the hell can define what a natural is anyway in this day and age? But when you're in the stage that I'm at right now, it takes a little while to get yourself there mentally and physically. So I will get to the gym. I will have my little non-stim concoction. Sometimes I will pair 50 milligrams of caffeine on it. 50 milligrams, I know, baby dose to a lot of you guys, but for me right now, 50 milligrams of caffeine is fine. That's essentially half a cup of coffee. I will add that to the concoction that I told you about previously, the creatine, the citrulline, and the D-ribose, and it's good enough for me. It makes me alert, but not to the point where I'm energized and hopped up, and I will start warming up. I'm stretching. I'm starting off with really, really light weights. I will literally take 20 pounders and start doing chest press with 20 pounders. Literally, I'm not even kidding, guys. I will warm up, do a couple of sets. I have my music. I have my podcasts. It's a different vibe. It's a different feeling. I eventually, after 20, 30 minutes, will get into it. I will get into my zone. I can push a little harder, a little bit faster, maybe take slightly shorter rests in between. But I do eventually get into that same mindset, that zone, that motivated place where I'm pumping iron and I'm enjoying the process. But I've learned to fall in love with the process all over again. Now, I'm trying to incorporate more workouts into my week because of my work schedule right now. I'm not going to the gym during the week anymore, as crazy as that sounds. I just have too many commitments and I'm not able to do that. But I've become a weekend warrior. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I go for 2.5 hours, what have you. I finish off with cardio. Very important, by the way. Still doing my cardio during the week. I bike to work, I bike back, I walk a lot throughout the day. So I'm getting in my cardio, getting in my steps, staying hydrated because, again, people don't drink enough, especially now that it's sunny out. As you can tell, it's going to start getting hot and people need to stay hydrated. But that's essentially it, guys. I'm just trying to focus on longevity right now. I'm trying to focus on things that I didn't really think about before. I'm always dealing with some sort of injuries, joint issues, partial tears and whatnot, knee pain and whatnot. So I'm trying to focus right now on longevity. I'm not really trying to get jacked or anything like that. I want to lean out. That's really more than anything. I want to lean out because there's a lot of health benefits and longevity benefits when you're carrying less weight. And I've always been somebody that struggled with extra weight, even when I was 260 pounds at my leanest. Now I'm at like 275. I've put on a little bit of weight. I've been fluctuating, yo-yoing a little bit. It hasn't been easy, but you know what? You got to remind yourself what your goal is and why you're doing what you're doing. And little by little, as long as you work towards it every single day, you don't have to conquer everything in one day, in 1 week. It's a lifelong journey. And as long as you work towards it every single day, eventually things will get to a good place. So that's pretty much been my update over the past 2 months. Again, there's been a lot more going on, but I'm not going to get into personal details because that's not for YouTube. That's for me and me alone to know. But again, I'm on Instagram, still at Stim Ace. I'm still here on YouTube. I'm still going to be posting on here regularly, but the content is going to shift. I am planning on still doing reviews. I do have a bunch of products that Panda Sub sent me that I'm going to be reviewing, and I have a bunch of proteins and a bunch of hydration formulas, stuff like that. But realistically speaking, I'm never going to be reviewing pre-workouts again. Maybe non-stim ones that I can use. I might be reviewing stuff like that, but it's going to be different, and I know that people came to this channel because I was the pre-workout guy and I was high Stim Ace and I was always high energy and it was fun, entertaining content, but that's just not the person who I am anymore. Real talk, guys, real talk. That's just not who I am anymore. I know it's only been 3 months, but it feels like it was 3 years ago. That's how much changed in my life recently, and I just can't go back to being that person. I've always been a genuine person, and I can't be on here and be disingenuous and pretend to be like I'm something that I'm not. So you guys can stay subscribed and be part of the journey. There are going to be videos, more vlog style videos like this. Summer's coming up. I want to get more into calisthenics. I want to start doing more park workouts, just like when I was doing during the pandemic days. I used to take my resistance bands, go to the park, do calisthenics and stuff like that. I really want to focus on building my body up in a healthy way. No drugs, no stimulants, nothing like that. Just to be the healthiest, best version of myself that I can be, while obviously taking vitamins and things that actually contribute to my health and overall well-being. So I am going to be posting more content, but this is where you guys come in. We're a family here, and I've made a lot of genuine connections here on YouTube and over on Instagram. I will be rebranding this channel. This channel is not going to be called High Stim Ace anymore because I'm not High Stim Ace anymore. High Stim Ace is done. It's unfortunate. It was fun while it lasted, and man, it's been one hell of a ride. But I'm trying to come up with a new name that reflects who I am right now, where I am on my journey of life and fitness and self-improvement. And I don't know if you guys have any ideas, suggestions for content that you want to see from me. If you want to see live workouts or more vlog style videos, maybe me linking up with my buddy Timmy. We used to do those videos back in the day from his home gym. Granted, I was hopped up out of my mind during those days, but we can try linking up again and doing stuff. If you guys want to see park workouts or just, me talking about my life, talking a little bit about adversities and things that I've gone through, let me know. And like I said, guys, there are going to be more reviews coming for products that I am able to use. I'm going to be talking about vitamin stacks and stuff like that. There's still a lot to discuss that doesn't involve high stim pre-workouts or any pre-workouts for that matter. But realistically speaking, I know that a majority of the audience was in it for the pre-workouts, and it is what it is, guys. It sucks. But there are other reviewers out there that are honest and genuine. And again, guys, just do your research, because when you ingest a lot of this stuff, it's all chemicals, and I'm not shitting on anything, but just do your research, guys. Be safe, health and longevity before anything else, all right? Love you all, miss you all, and I will try to be more active on here. I am planning on rebranding, like I said, but I got to change my studio. My studio still looks the same. I got to get rid of a lot of these tubs and, just change up the entire vibe, come up with a new name. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I will get back into posting semi-regularly. But for the time being, I'm putting out a bit of an update. Love you guys. Take care. Till the next time, Ace signing off.